So I literally just did this post today. Would I be the a-hole if I break off my engagement because of his new views about women? Like I said, I literally just did this a couple of hours ago. If you missed the post, it is, she said, my fiance and I used to have a great relationship, but for the last year, his political views have become a problem. I mostly bit my tongue about it, but it came to a head when he accused a woman at his job of lying about her SA. I pointed out that when a woman accuses a man of rape, he questions it by saying she is lying. Okay, so then she goes into all of the other things that he's doing that sounds sexist. It sounds kind of red pillish. If you didn't see the video, it's on my pages. Here's the update, though, literally 57 minutes ago. So we're getting it while it's hot. She says, "Hi again. I'm surprised and overwhelmed by the response my post got. Thanks to everyone who read through all that, and thanks to anyone who reads through all this too. After I left, I went to a hotel. He kept contacting me to ask when I was coming home. I told him I needed time to think and turned off my phone. When I turned it back on, I saw his photo on my lock screen and decided to call him for reasons that will make sense later. He said he wanted to talk face to face, and I agreed, so I went home. He apologized for implying that I'm not special. I apologize for implying our relationship isn't special. We've been together for 12 years, so saying that was hurtful and untrue. Before anyone compares the harshness of our statements, his wrongs don't justify my own and vice versa. Vice versa. Sorry, y'all. Disclaimer. This post isn't about the validity or ethics of gender roles. This is strictly an account of what happened with no wider social commentary from me. We discussed what we wanted for the future. He wants a traditional marriage and specified the following. 1, I would quit my job and we'd start trying for a baby right after the wedding. 2, I'd be a stay-at-home mom until the kids are old enough for primary school and we'd raise them as Christian. 3, he wants to protect and provide for our family, and I would be submissive. He assured me that I would still disagree with him and have a say, but he wants to ultimately have the final say in most things. He asked if I understood what he wanted, and I said yes. When he asked me if I still wanted to get married, I told him that I didn't. He has the right to change his mind, but it's not the arrangement we agreed to when he proposed. This post is long enough, so I won't detail how he got into this gender essentialism stuff or why I don't want that type of relationship he's asking for. Suffice to say, we are no longer compatible. He wants to do a trial run of his preferred setup so I can see if that's for the best. I told him we had a very successful trial run of not doing that for 10 years until he decided to switch things up a few years ago. He was unfazed by this. So about the lock screen, he has a small snaggletooth towards the back, and he's always been shy about it, so he never fully smiles in public. That photo was one of the very few pictures where he is showing his real smile, and it's beautiful. Seeing that photo used to make me so happy. When I saw it this morning, I just felt sad. I know it sounds dramatic, but it feels like he died and was replaced by some kind of red-pilled pod person. When he asked me if I still loved him at all, I told him that I will always love him, but I'm not in love with him anymore. I get that many people have strong feelings about the things he said, and he definitely crossed the line several times, but this is still so hard for me to do. He's the only man I've ever been with and my best friend. I'm relieved that it's over, but still sad about how it ended. I accept that he's a different person now, but it's hard not to think of what could have been. The red pill is doing more damage than feminism could ever do. It is pushing these men to be single, and these men that get caught up in the red pill are failing and flailing. The red pill is not helping these men, and they're not seeing it. We're taking these things and we're putting it out here so women understand and know these red flags, and the red pill men are still going. And these men, instead of listening to women, what women want, they're still listening to these failed men that are in relation or not in relationships and are just aggrieved about women not being oppressed anymore or not being oppressed as much. And it is sad that they are the destruction of these relationships. This is wild. He's like, now I want you to quit your job and be submissive. And she's like, nah, not for me. And I'm glad that she saw this for what it was and listened. She listened and just said, no, not for me. I'm not going to do a lot of these comments, but I am going to do some. Ella Carr the first says, I'm very proud of you. It's hard to make that change. And you were so honest about how this isn't going to work for you. And yes, he changed things. You had 10 good years and 2 bad ones. Those bad ones outweigh the good. You're going to thrive. Okay, Routine says, and the positive growth she'll have once she is out of the relationship that started when she was 16, because she is 28, and she says she's been with this man since for 12 years. I hope we get an update 6 months to a year from now. I suspect the life on the other side is going to have some amazing surprises for her. I just wanted to bring this in just to remind us all that there is so much growth from high school to college to getting into your first job, and people change. That man changed. He has every right to want what he wants, and she has every right to want what she wants. And they just need to find the person that is most compatible for them versus trying to mold themselves into being what the other person wants. And he's trying to mold her and she's not going for it. So, he's going to have to look for that traditional woman versus taking this woman and thinking he's going to like push her into submission. All right, y'all. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this update. Thank you to the woman who told me about this update. I appreciate that. I was able to grab it early and you guys got the update the same day. Join the conversation, like, comment, and share. So I am on my balcony. That is my office for today. So there is a bird coworker over there. So just letting y'all know. But yesterday I saw this post in the marriage subreddit and I immediately started taking screenshots just in case this woman decided to pull this post. Not even going to editorialize it. I'm just going to jump in. She said, my husband is obsessed with wearing pantyhose. We need to read this post together. The headline was enough for me to immediately start taking screenshots. She's saying, I'm looking for some advice regarding my straight husband. When I talk about my husband, I never have to qualify by telling people that he's straight. So that's already kind of interesting. All right. He is completely obsessed with wearing pantyhose and nylon stockings. He literally comes home from work and takes a shower and puts on pantyhose. He brings them on trips with us, and we do not have X without him having to wear them. We've been together for almost 9 years, and he's pretty much done this the whole time. I'm so sick of them constantly needing to be part of our lives. Anytime I bring it up, he just gets defensive. And the countless times I've tried to set boundaries with them, he just wiggles his way around it. It really bothers me that he wears them in the first place, but even more so that he's so effing obsessed with them. They are a huge turnoff for me and honestly makes me feel like I'm not the one that gets him off, but he gets himself off by wearing them. He constantly touches them and stares at them when we do have X. I'm just about at my wits' end with this, and to be honest, it's destroying our marriage. I couldn't care less about how I feel about them. He couldn't care less about how I feel about them. He does what he wants. Any advice on this? On top of that, we are expecting our first baby any day now, and his obsession with wearing them around the house constantly concerns me for our child when she gets older and is wondering why he's wearing women's underwear. Y'all, my gobs are smacked and my flabber is gasted. There is so much befuddlement going on in my mind, but if there is something that has been bothering you for years, and obviously the weirdness of wearing pantyhose, because who even wears pantyhose? I'm a woman. I wear tank tops and workout pants every single day. Yes, workout pants are quite comfy. That's why I put them on. But stockings, pantyhose, like literally the thought of going backwards and wearing slips under my dresses, wearing a real bra versus a sports bra, like I could not imagine going back to that time. And this person is doing it obsessively, coming home And instead of taking off stuff and getting comfortable, he's putting on restrictive things. My mind is blown and I cannot understand it. But she has been irritated with this for years and is continuing to communicate that she's irritated with it, but does no action behind it. She still is with him. She still got pregnant by him. She's been with him for 9 years and it has bothered her for years. If it is destroying your marriage and this has been an ongoing situation, I don't care what it is. If something has been an ongoing situation, you talked about it, nothing has been done about it. What you need to do, my advice, is leave or just accept it. There are no other, you cannot control somebody else's behaviors. You cannot. If this person wants to wear pantyhose, if this person wants to wear cowboy boots every day, that person is going to do and wear and eat and whatever that person wants. You are not in charge of anyone else except yourself. You have an issue with it. If you have an issue with it, you need to decide, are you going to stick and stay and just be quiet, or are you going to leave? Stop trying to control other people. It got a chuckle out of me. My flappers were gasted and whatnot, but it still becomes you're only in control of yourself. If something bothers you that badly, you need to decide what you're going to do about it. Now, to some of the comments. You've been together 9 years and he has not hidden this kink. You married him knowing this. Why is it suddenly a problem for you after 9 years? And then Present Standard says, yes, this, unless it's escalated or something, you were accepting of this and now you aren't. So it's not his issue to change because you have. If it's a deal breaker, then it's time to reevaluate staying in your marriage. And maybe it's because she knows that she's having a child or whatever, and she's known that she's having a child for a few months up until this point. She knew all of this when she got pregnant with his child. So I don't know why, if she has such an issue, she allowed herself to become pregnant. That's what is baffling to me. Carbon says, so he's been doing this for 9 years and is a complete turn off for you, but he wears them during X and you've managed to conceive and now are due any day now. Yes, those are all yes. She knew, she still did the do, and now they are doing what happens after the do. Help the Worried says, so I wouldn't have an issue if my husband liked to wear pantyhose sometimes, but the obsessive behavior is slightly concerning, especially since he seems fixated on them during X. Has he ever talked to a professional about it? Kinks are normal to an extent, but this seems to go beyond the bedroom. Different Management says, so why did you marry him? This would have turned most women off so badly they'd be running for the door. Galaxy Hitchhiking says, your husband needs therapy. This is not normal or healthy. So this man says, totally uneducated advice, but I'm a cishet husband with a kink of my own. I don't think it's led to this kind of situation, though. I am self-aware enough to know that I can't always center our ex around my personal triggers. Like I try to keep a ratio that is lower than 20% so as to not overwhelm. A sympathetic, non-competitive way to deal, a partnership forward, lean in, push through to the other side. Fixation needs to be played out. What's the thing? What's he enjoying about it? Texture, snugness, gender bending, danger, humiliation. Any of these things could be both more inclusive and less icky if you are a participant rather than an observer. There might be a well of understanding available to you on the other side of this door. He is begging you to open it. I don't give that point of view lightly. Like plenty of situations and reasons, I think of where that would be bad advice. But in a world where only the strange thing is your husband wearing hose after work, it might be applicable. So I left that one in because that is a person that is in that type of situation or likes that type of thing. And I am not. So I am not versed on this because what I see is like, yeah, this is a bit too much for me. And I wouldn't be comfortable for that many years being in a situation that I am uncomfortable with because I just can't make that make sense to me. But he gives a different stance. But you guys go ahead and weigh in and let me know what you think of this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So one of my Gen X friends sent me this post from the Gen X women subreddit. It's called Gendering Gen X, Lack of Prep for Retirement. Sandy says, kind of an interesting thing. I'm seeing all this stuff about how Gen X is mostly unprepared, and I believe it. But as I hear people talking about money, I'm like, this is actually intensely gendered and it's not being covered. On the whole, I'm seeing that Gen X women have always been concerned about retirement and having enough money, might not have had a lot of financial ed, but have tried to save. We've been kneecapped financially, though, by hiring and promotion bias, wage gaps, mommy tax, having to drop out of the workforce or get mommy tracked to take care of kids and parents, divorce, moving around to suit husbands' higher wage careers, trying to help kids go to college, and just being robbed by spouses. And all that puts us in line for smaller Social Security checks than men will get. What I'm seeing on the men's side, though, is that while a fair number have gone through multiple layoffs, on the whole, their wage take has been much larger than ours. However, while some are part time financial bros who live on zero hedge and alpha what's it and Investopia, most haven't paid attention or taken care of the money at all, assuming something will turn up and save them or that everything sucks anyway. Nearly every ex of mine is a financial disaster, and they all had good educations and started out in good positions. My ex husband's middle class life is entirely debt financed. Same with many of my school friends. If not, they rely on wives and parents. Some went bankrupt along the way despite solid incomes and no major life tragedies. Always had big houses, lots of toys, and travel. I can think of three who are making it under their own steam. I'm floored by how many adult, like 50 ish men, think it's a win to get a tax refund and that the state is to blame if they owe money at the end of the year. I just talked to a friend from college who now has twins of his own in college. He came from money, but has made fairly crap financial decisions along the way, and he sent the kids to expensive schools. Somehow he had no idea that the FAFSA's been reworked and that there are problems, and also that extra credit for having multiple kids in college simultaneously has gone away, meaning they'll likely be on the hook for more from here on in. I'd called him to see how he was coping, and it turned out I was calling him to blindside him with news, and he was just, how do you know about these things? Where are you seeing this? Nobody told me. I just filled out the form. And I'm silently like, you're a lawyer. You know how to read. And also know that laws change. I think if financial reporters bothered to pick this apart, we'd be seeing very different Gen X men's financial prep and Gen X women's financial prep. And then off in the corner, because we're such a hugely white generation, there'll be all the Gen X who aren't white financial prep. And that'll be a hell of a story, too. I didn't know, or I don't know, that Gen X is mostly white. Somebody is going to have to fill in that blank for me because that I didn't know that. So somebody else fill that part in. So technically, I am a young Gen X. I was born in 1980. Sometimes I see that I am a young Gen X or an elder millennial. But I will say, from what I see, and it's not a whole lot, many of us are struggling right now just in survival mode. Many of us are parents, and there are a lot of child free. Like the the divergence is clear that the people around my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, are perfectly fine with shucking and pushing away those traditional boxes of having children. And truthfully, the having children part is where a lot of the financial muddiness comes into play, and where many people are not having enough to definitely not having enough to put away for retirement because we're still in the thick of things with parenting. So that's the reason why I figured this would be a good subject to tackle. I don't know a lot about men's finances because I don't speak to a lot of men about their finances. But I figured this was a good conversation to at least start, and y'all could weigh in. Some of the comments are interesting, though. I'm going to start with this one. After Preference says, women made less throughout their careers and get less Social Security because of it. We're also not always offered the same level of benefits as the guys who get promoted ahead of us. We have to work harder, full-time jobs and full-time caregiving for less, and in the end, we get less. It's kind of dumb to expect the average person to be a financial genius. It feels like a secret game where we uncover the rules as we age, and some people win by choosing the right job or by lucking out by having enough money from work to make ends meet. And then the OP Sandy says, oh, it's 100% insane to expect people to sit there playing the market like an 80s yupster with round glasses and a smug expression so that they can rest when they're old without being homeless. Unfortunately, the alternative is a turbocharged Social Security, and you're about to see generational warfare, the coveting in the next election as it becomes clear that the youngs will have to pony up more to make Social Security survive unless all the olds take a sharp cut, unless Social Security turns into a frank poverty welfare program and then everyone attacks it. It isn't a secret game, and a lot of the rules are there in black and white, but a combination of Christianity's unhelpful attitudes about money and the lack of useful financial education for kids turns it into a secret game that people are supposed to decipher when they're in the middle of making livings, raising kids, etc. I had excellent financial education as a kid from family, went to college and studied economics and trade, and haven't had much to do with that world since, but can still read and interpret financial news and do my taxes, keep an eye out for consequential changes and personal finance related laws. Take care of my investments, have a plan. I've been writing on everything I've learned before the age of 20 for a long time now, part of which is pay attention, things will change. My investments are not exciting at all, by the way. I do not gun for max yield. I know what you can and can't afford to lose, and how you lose, and how you stay at least ahead a little. So that's what I do as far as the world allows, and it should work out fine. Investment banks will go broke if all their customers were like me. So Plot Thick says, edit for too long, I ain't reading all that. The gender trained to take care of the house and family is women. Okay, she said, this is so true. I'm seeing a lot of Gen X divorce. The women start proceedings as usual, but this time it's obvious that mostly because of men's malicious incompetence. The men expected to just work for pay, nothing else, as their boomer fathers did, while expecting their wives to work for pay and do all of the 24/7 care to run the household and family. Now that menopause is slapping the rose-colored glasses off women's faces, we're leaving any deadbeats behind. The divorced women I know are happy in their small, clean, cozy condos or apartments, while the men are scrambling to get a mattress or even a room to put it in. I had to talk to a dude about insurance and why he couldn't go see his wife's insurance doctor anymore. Oh, he was pissed. Men expected to not have to care about anything: dishes, kids, PTA, finances, investing, taxes. That was all BS tedium they could ignore. Care work was beneath their manly notice. I know one ex husband who's aghast that his new ex wife isn't going to bail him out again now that he's back from vacation and needs to pay rent for last month. Usually, divorced men try to marry younger women, but the younger generation don't want hobosexuals or even really to marry, especially not way older men. The 4F movement is gathering steam, and younger women don't want to raise their boyfriends near adult kids either. So I don't think many of the financially clueless Gen X men will find refuge with new girlfriends. The US population is already 50% over 50 and mostly men. I don't see that changing. I needed to get to that comment because it was chock full of stuff. Many of the things that we talk about with men not participating in their household is going to bite them in the butt. Simply going to work and thinking that is enough will not be enough in the end. And if they don't get together with some other men and create the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House, they are going to be part of that homeless population that ends up on the street. Because like she said, the younger women are not going for this crowd. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So last night, me and the fam went to Crave Cookie to get some cookies. I did not eat my cookie yesterday because I knew I needed to eat it in the morning when I had a better chance of working off or burning off that sugar. So I did get the black cherry cookie, this chocolate cherry cookie with this white topping. And it is so good. This is my palate cleanser for the day because it's been a rough couple of days. So this I'm enjoying this cookie this morning. Got some milk. I'll probably only eat half of this because this is a lot of sugar. But black cherry, look at that inside. Got some chocolate and some white stuff in the middle. Definitely a banger.